Good day. Welcome from the Netherlands. Welcome, everybody. My name is Sandra, and I am here in the Netherlands in Utrecht, and I'm welcoming you in the name of the OKR Institute for this very exciting webinar with Rabobank's Sabine Schreepstra. And today we're going to find out how OKRs in action work and how the Rabobank transformed their business through value delivery for success. So I will now pass on to Marco van Damme, who's our host, our co-host today from This is Performance. They are a gold partner of the OKR Institute, and take it away, Marco.
Hello, everybody. Welcome from out of the Netherlands. Thank you for your kind introduction, Sandra. Today you are here tuning in to the Netherlands in Utrecht. We have This is Performance hosting this webinar for you, and very happy that I've came to meet Sabine. Actually, we are here all in the room together, so we might encounter some difficulties with echoes, but we are really in sync already, trying to not have the sound and microphones on simultaneously. We hope that everybody is sitting down and enjoy this webinar. I see still a lot of people coming in, and I do not want to have somebody join late, because we're going to talk about Rabobank. Rabobank is a corporation bank. It's one of the biggest banks in the Netherlands, but Sabine will tell you a lot about this in the course of this webinar. And they have an OKR journey over the past few years that really is a success factor for Rabobank. So I'm very, very proud to introduce to you all Sabine Schreepstra. It's a very Dutch name, very hard to pronounce for a lot of the people all over the globe. But without further ado, take it away, and I hope you take us along with you on this journey of OKRs. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Marco. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, OKR Institute, and also This is Performance for this great opportunity to tell you all about the journey that we've been going through for the last years, actually, at Rabobank. I have a presentation prepared for you, and then, of course, afterwards, but also during the presentation, please feel free to ask your questions in the chat. I don't think I'll be able to answer them during my presentation, but afterwards there is still quite some time to dive into all these great questions. So all your questions in the chat, please. I'm now going to try and share my screen for you. There we go. Also, if you have any difficulty understanding me at any time, please also note so in the chat. So OKRs in action. Really great that I was invited to give this presentation to you. My name is Sabine Schreepstra. I have been with Rabobank for 3 years now. I am one of the heads of chapter leads at Rabobank of the chapter Digital Transformation, and I am also a so-called domain agile coach, meaning that I support managing board -1 in the adoption of an agile way of working, and also in the adoption of the digital transformation as such. And from that role, I am working on the digital transformation at Rabobank, and I'm delivering this presentation to you today. Just before we dive into all the great theory, for everybody who doesn't know Rabobank, as Marco said, Rabobank is one of the biggest banks in the Netherlands. We are located in Utrecht, the same city that we're delivering this presentation from. So it's close to home. I'm close to home today. Just some facts and figures about our bank. So we are a bank with a strong foundation in the Netherlands, and actually The Rabobank is a cooperative, and we grew as a bank from all small cooperatives of farmers who came together and said we want to organize banking for ourselves. So we have this great background in the farmers' history of the Netherlands. Now, currently, we have over 9 million customers in the Netherlands, and we are market leader on mortgages, also in the SME markets and in savings. And we hope, of course, to stay as such. But we're also an international bank. So we have a presence in 37 countries at the moment, and we have over 70 billion euros in loans standing out in the food and agri sector, where obviously we are the largest because of our background. And we have over 40,000 employees working for us worldwide. So just some facts and figures about the bank. Now, because we are a cooperative, we don't have stakeholders that we actually make money for. Our stakeholders are our clients, and is actually the community is our stakeholder. And as such, also we have a very important mission. So the mission of Rabobank is to grow a better world together. So besides banking, we do some other stuff. We really support local communities like sports clubs or other initiatives like the Scouts or whatever initiative you can think of. And we invest over 30 million euros in local communities from cooperative dividends. We work hard on financial well-being. And also we work on social impacts. For example, that we issued over 60 million euros of social impact loans in 2022. But this is just a small part of all the things that we also do. All right, now where does the story that I'm going to tell you today about the OKRs and how we use them, where does it start? Obviously, as you all know, in the digital age that we're in right now, the world around us really changed fast. And to stay at par or even win the race as a bank, we really had to work on our digital presence and digital products as other banks were doing. And for that reason, in 2018 already, so quite some years ago, our managing board decided to launch Simplify at Scale. And Simplify at Scale, I'm going to explain all about it, but it is a scaling framework, and it was a program. Now it isn't a program anymore. Now it's just a way we work, but it used to be a change program to scale agile at an enterprise level across the bank. All right, sit tight. I'm first going to explain a little bit about Simplify at Scale, and then we'll deep dive into the strategy to execution part, because that is where the measurement of objectives and results comes into the story. But to fully understand what we are doing at the bank, I think it's important to give you an oversight of the Simplify at Scale framework. And we say that Simplify at Scale is built up from 5 pillars, as you see here: the way we are organized, the way how our governance works, since we are a bank, so we have to work in a formal governance, and we have to be really smart about how we organize decision making to, on the one hand, still be safe and trustworthy as a bank, but also really speed up decision making so we can speed up how we deliver value to end customers. So that's about governance and decision making. Then we have strategy to execution. So how do we bring our strategy and our strategic goals all the way to the teams who actually deliver value? And that we're going to talk about today. And then we have something that we call a heartbeat. And it's a set of meetings that we have in a structured rhythm to really make these decisions in an organized and fast manner. And finally, we have tooling. We will not be able to discuss all this today, unfortunately, but here you have the whole overview of our framework. And it's all based, obviously, on a set of behaviors and a culture of openness, a culture of collaboration, a culture of learning. And we'll shortly talk about that as well at the end. So talking about our organization, to really maximize flow of value delivery across the organization, we decided to organize or to align the way how we are organized with the value delivery chain. So not like traditional companies where you have all these separate departments and where to deliver value to an end customer, you have all these handovers. We try to minimize the handovers and really organize in the way that is optimal for value delivery for end customers. Now, what does it look like? And this is a really, of course, simplified way to show you. But we have something that we call tribes. And tribes are multidisciplinary units, biz DevOps, if you are at home in your agile terminology, that consists of all the people who work on a certain product or a certain service. So, for example, we have a tribe mortgages or housing, really. We call it tribe housing. And we also have a tribe wealth management. And we have a tribe business lending. Just examples, some examples of tribes. And within these tribes, we have between 500 or maybe 11, 1200 people working together from all different jobs and roles, working together on this one product and service to enable value delivery to end customers. So those are the tribes, and the tribes define what we work on. But we also have something that we call chapters. Chapters are departments of all people with the same job or the same role or the same knowledge area. And they determine how we do it. So they determine standards, quality standards, ways of working, etc., etc. And the chapters actually staff the tribes. Now, we don't really have time to really dive into this. That will be for another webinar, but this is just important to understand that we have these tribes, and tribes are the multidisciplinary units that deliver value to the end customer. And tribes are, like, for example, a tribe of 1,000 people is split up into areas, and they are then split up into squads. And squads are the teams, Scrum teams, DevOps teams, that really do the work, really deliver the value. So this is then what the picture looks like across the enterprise. We have 25 tribes and 20 chapters with over 15,000. Actually, I think it's closer to 20,000 people actually working in the Simplify at Scale organization. And that's really important to understand that everybody works in the same framework. So we all have the same language and we understand each other, even when we come from a whole other part of the bank. And we are divided in 4 domains, the Dutch banking domain, the international domain, the finance and risk domain, and the engineering for enterprise domain. Yeah, so 25 tribes divided over 4 domains with almost 1,200 teams in them, 1,200 teams. So that brings us actually to the second part of the framework. So the first part of the framework is how we are organized. The second part of the framework is how we make decisions and how our governance works. And that also is really important to enable fast decision making. All decisions regarding prioritization and scope, so any important decision on where to go or what to do, is made by a multidisciplinary triangle. You could call a triangle also a management team. We have triangles on all levels of the organization. So I explained we have a tribe, and within the tribe we have areas, and within the areas we have teams, squads. And on all levels there is a so-called triangle. So you have a squad triangle, an area triangle, a tribe triangle, and even on the highest level, a domain triangle. Now, a triangle is a management team consisting of 3 people. This multidisciplinary, where there is 1 person from architecture, 1 person from software delivery, and one person from product or from business. And these 3 people together make any decision that needs to be made. And we try to keep decision making on the lowest possible level within the organization. And when a triangle can't decide, actually the squad triangle is not a management team as such, because it's just people from the squad in there. But if they cannot make a decision, they quickly raise the decision to the next level and to the next level. And that way we enable fast decision making and fast impediment solving. So yeah, Rabobank's portfolio is run per domain. Remember, we have these 4 domains based on tribe budgets. So we have within the domain, we have several tribes and tribe backlogs. And I'll get back to that shortly, what that exactly means.
just quickly, apparently there's a cracking noise that our participants are hearing, and maybe we can switch up the audio, that we go through my audio, but you keep sharing your screen. Yep. So
Let's
sorry,
try.
we really apologize.
Let's try.
I apologize for the sound, for the bad sound quality. We have not heard it on our end, but if your experience is not good, great. Yes, perfect, Jen. Thank you so much for your feedback. Let's hope that you can hear Sabine now.
Yes, I will speak up a little bit so you can still hear me. And please put it in the comments if you can or cannot hear me. Thanks a lot for that. All right, I'll continue. So the portfolio of the Rabobank is run per domain and then through the different tribes and the different tribe budgets, right? And the tribe is then responsible for a certain area of products or services. And that brings me to the important part that I want to talk about today, strategy to execution. How do we do it? So strategy execution and value delivery across the bank is done via one cascaded backlog, as we call it. Backlog being an agile term, backlog being the list of work ranked or prioritized, most important things first, and then you work down the backlog. Now we have one backlog on domain level, then cascaded down to tribe level, area level, squad level. And all priorities within the bank, both business, tech, legal, etc., 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 go into this one backlog. We bring everything together onto one list, and then we decide what to do first. Now, new work does not necessarily only come in from the top, as it's stated here, right? So the strategy, the real strategy of the bank obviously comes down from the top, from the managing board, but new work can be added to the backlog on all levels, right? So you have specialists working on all levels who have their own stakeholders, who have great ideas, and they put work onto the backlog, and it rolls up, bottom up, and top down. In the end, everything needs to fulfill the strategic goals that the managing board sets. So work flows up and down the backlog, depending from where a great idea starts. Now, if you visualize the work on different levels in time, you have roadmaps on all levels. Now, a roadmap is not so much as it used to be when we used to do like planning in the old times, right? This is about agile planning. So a roadmap is really work plotted in time. So we don't plan ahead too far because it's all very uncertain, but the roadmap is just more like a funnel of work where you start with the most important stuff. But we have the funnel on squad level, squad being a team, and we have the funnel on area level, we have the funnel on tribe level, etc., etc., etc. All right, now that brings me to the OKRs. At Rabobank, we don't talk about OKRs as such. We don't see them as separate. We have a way of steering that is integrated into the simplified scale way of working. And I'm going to show you just now how we do it. So we work with objectives, and we definitely also work with key results, but we don't really explicitly say we work with OKRs because it's all part of the simplified scale framework. But I'm going to show you what it looks like within simplified scale. So we hold one backlog. Why is that? We work from one backlog on all levels for three important reasons. First of all, it's very important that we align strategy and the work breakdown from that strategy bottom up and top down so that everybody is doing the right stuff to achieve that strategy, right? To achieve our strategic goals. So it's really important that we have all these 1,200 teams that I just told you about working on the same, going in the same direction. That's why it's really important that we work from this one backlog. Second of all, we believe in transparency. We want to create complete transparency in all our units, in the tribes and areas, et cetera, because transparency enables fast decision making. And third of all, we have the need to identify and manage dependencies. So there's many dependencies across the bank. We have cross-team dependencies, cross-tribe, but also cross-domain dependencies. And to steer upon these dependencies and make the right decisions asks from us that we work from transparent backlogs so that we can connect the different work items to each other when they are dependent on each other. So how do we build a backlog? Well, we have certain work items, as we call them. On tribe level, again, the tribe being a big part of the organization, 1,000 people working on a product or a service, we have something that we call a tribe theme. A tribe theme is a chunk of work that represents 1 to 5 million euros of budgets, yearly budgets. And a tribe can have many tribe themes dependent on the tribe budget. So maybe a random tribe could have 60 tribe themes on the list for a year to work on. Now, tribe themes are then cut or sliced into smaller work items on area level. And they represent smaller parts of the budget. And sub-themes are then cut into smaller work items on team or squad level. They are called epics. And an epic is a chunk of work that can be done by one team within a quarter. So within a quarter of a year, an epic can be done by one team. And a team obviously does a set of epics in a quarter. And then you have features and PBIs. PBI is short for product backlog item. Features span multiple sprints, and a PBI can then be done within a sprint. So here you see it. You have a tribe backlog where the owner is the tribe lead, built up from tribe themes. You have an area backlog built up from sub-themes, and then you have squad backlogs built up from epics, features, and PBIs. And we don't have time to dive into technology, but we manage our backlogs in Azure DevOps. So, and there you see also the items that how we use them in Azure DevOps. And then this is how it looks. So a tribe theme on tribe backlog is then cut up or cascaded down to multiple sub-themes on the area backlogs, and then cascades all the way down to the different teams, different squads working on that tribe theme into work items. And the blue ones are the ones that they pick up in a sprint and deliver, right? So that's how value delivery is quickly done. All working on the same epics, working on the same sub-themes, working on the same themes. And then, of course, we have the strategic objectives. So on the main level, you have a strategic objective directly derived from the strategy that describes what we want to achieve as a bank or as a domain at the bank. I'm just going to give you an example of what it looks like in practice. But this is how we work all across a simplified scale organization. All right, so how do we define a theme? A theme is all about realizing a certain value. So realize value X, and then sometimes by delivering action Y. And themes can be defined bottom up and top down, right? So immediately derived from the strategy, from the objectives, or derived from the teams who come with a great idea, roll it up, and say, okay, this great idea is huge, so it's going to be a theme on the backlog. And the same actually goes for sub-themes, the smaller parts, and then the same goes for epics as well. They are either defined top-down, from the strategy down, or they are defined bottom-up, from great ideas from the teams, rolled up into sub-themes. And a sub-theme is then defined as realizing value X, what, by delivering action Y. And sometimes you add a date when it's really important for the value that you have a certain delivery date. So I'm going to give you an example. So as a bank, we want to increase our execution power in the field of sustainability, right? Sustainability, very important for all of us. Okay, that's our objective. Now, as a tribe, I'm like, okay, how can we do it? So let's realize to take a step towards that objective. Let's ensure that we realize 100,000 registrations for home insulation advice. because if everybody insulates their home, we add to sustainability as a bank. And this would be typically something from the tribe mortgages or the tribe housing. Then the area, and I'm going to give an example from the certain area within a tribe that is responsible for data. They're like, okay, well, if we want to do that, we have to create data insights for the installation reports. Because if we don't have that, then we can never measure whether we are realizing the 100,000 registrations. So they'll put a sub-theme like that on the backlog. And then the different teams, they say, okay, I'll pick up data element X, and the other team will pick up data element Y. And all together, you can see all that work adds up to the one tribe theme, and then adds and all delivers value to the objective lying above that. And of course, they do the work attached to it. So yeah, that's how we build up our backlogs across the whole organization, top down and bottom up. We deliver value in a quarterly rhythm. So we plan 1 quarter ahead, or actually we really strictly plan 1 quarter ahead. And of course, we have these funnels across multiple quarters, right? But that's all still in pencil, and it can still change, and priorities can change all the time. So we plan and we deliver for 1 quarter, and we plan ahead in pencil multiple quarters. But we have this so-called heartbeat with all these different planning meetings in them to align roadmaps all the time. So we align on all levels, bottom up, top down. Do we have any changes? Do we need to reprioritize something? Do we need to replan something? So these roadmaps are continuously moving, and we use the so-called heartbeats, the meetings that we have, to manage the backlogs on different levels and the roadmaps on different levels. So that's in one picture how the heartbeats typically works. So I know it's a very information-intense presentation. I still hope it sparks some ideas and some inspiration. But how we see it in a nutshell. So to ensure continuous and maximize flow in value delivery, we do not look too far ahead in too much detail, but we plan in transparent incremental steps of a quarter. And we cascade work down from our enterprise backlog all the way to the squads, but also bottom up from the squads to enterprise level. And we track value delivered, so we work transparently so that we can inspect and adapt, right? So we can continue to see, are we doing the right things? Do we need to change our plan based on the way how we work? I think we went across all the items on this screen. Tooling we didn't touch upon because we don't have time for that. But I want to finalize with the fundament, if you will. So culture and behavior, because obviously this transparent way of working, this way of working in incremental steps needs also a certain culture. What we strive for and what we ask all our agile leaders is that we enable a concept that's called aligned autonomy. Now, this picture comes directly from one of the videos from Henrik Knieberg. He made them for Spotify. I think many of you know them. He has a very interesting video about aligned autonomy. And he says, you know, what you strive for is on the one hand, high alignment, but also high autonomy. So we want people to be very free in how they perform a task, but in the same time, we need to work towards the same goal, right? And you see it in the right-hand top corner. We need to cross the river. That would be the common goal. And then figure out how to do it would be the autonomy for the specialist to figure out the best way how to do it. And exactly this is also what we strive for within the Rabobank way of working, aligned autonomy. And the way how we cascade the work from objectives all the way down to the squads is typically a way of working that enables that aligned autonomy. And the second part that I wanted to talk about is the entire culture that we foster. So we try to give our people a higher sense of purpose. So the why, the objectives that you work for. And again, that's enabled by the way of working that I just explained to you about. We also really try to enable team collaboration. So it's not about individuals doing their work, but it's really about teams, the squads working together optimally. We strive towards autonomy, right? The empowered employees, the specialists, they know best, so they need space to do their work in the way that they seem fit. But we also ask something from our people. We ask a growth mindset to really inspect and adapt and change all the time and improve our way of working. So we are really all about a learning organization. And that brings me to the fifth point within our culture, continuous learning. That's what we really enable and also ask from everybody to be open to that and to be in a state of continuous learning about themselves, their way of working, but also training, right? And also working with new technology that changes so rapidly. So we ask that from people as well. So I think that's in a nutshell, everything that I can tell you about Simplified Scale, how we embed the OKRs within our framework and within our way of working. And yeah, if you have any questions, really feel free to ask them in the chats. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sabine, for being here and having outlaid this story of Rabobank. And it was, yeah, for me, very good. And I want to share this with the world, actually, how a bank like Rabobank is really adding value to their own organization, implementing the complete structure that Sabine just outlaid. I'm now gonna give it over to Sandra and Sabine, who have had some questions initially to this Zoom meeting. And for you guys still here, send your questions as well in the chat, so we can additionally following them up as well. So take it away. Hopefully, sound-wise, everything is going well. And even more so in regards to the culture of learning, and I think that this is something that will come out of the questions as well. Is that we definitely embrace. And well, I see some questions popping up, but for now, take it away, Sandra.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Take it away.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sabine. This was really inspiring. I think all of us are still wondering how you can make such a huge impact on such an organizational level, implementing a framework that works, what looks like completely from the lowest common denominator to the biggest overview. Would you like to share a little bit about how you rolled that out, or how that was working on that team level?
Yeah. So I think, you know, I could fill an entire webinar talking about change and transformation. I think one of the key elements that will really help you to be successful in transformation like this, and actually helping us, is that we have support from the highest level in the organization. So we do have managing board support on this, and we go back to them often to show how we are in a transformation, what it has brought to us, and also to ask them all the time, are you still in? Are you still supporting us? Because if not, then we cannot be successful. So I think that is one of the key takeaways that I would like to give. If you want to do it at a scale like this, you have to have support from the top. And it's really support. So it's really it's about the upside down pyramid, if you will. It's really the top supports the rest of the organization in this perspective. Obviously, strategy is and direction is more like the top tells everybody what to do, but in the how we do it, it's really about supporting the teams and supporting the professionals so they know best how to do it. But yeah, buy-in from the top is really one of the key things that's really important.
Yeah, and I believe those regular check-ins and the
Yes.
regular communication.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just one question, of course, that I'm asking myself, how did that work throughout the pandemic? How was that possible when people then are not together in the teams? That must have been a very interesting challenge.
Yeah, it was, and somehow it affected many things. It affected all of us, but it did not necessarily affect the transformation that we were going through.
Impressive.
Yeah, but that was just because technology was able to support everything so fast, working together, transparent, and actually, I think the pandemic even enabled us to make the switch to the tooling that supports transparency, supports tracking of this value, actually sped it on. So we could really more quickly use all these tools. And now we're not going back to sticky notes on the wall, but we're really staying with the tools to manage our work.
Yeah, impressive. Another question that I think will probably also come up in people's minds will be, what are the challenges that you're facing implementing such a framework?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I was at a different presentation with another company 2 weeks ago, and they actually could not believe it when I said we do the implementation incremental, because we do agile, right? So we're all about doing small steps, experiments, learn, inspect, and adapt. And I said, actually, that is how we also do the rollout of simplified scale. People couldn't believe it. They said, but how, if you do all these small experiments, how can you maintain this one framework? I think there lies the key to success, that you don't start too big. So start smaller, do get your buy-in from everybody that you need buy-in from, and do an experiment. So we started small with the so-called digital hub, a few teams, maybe. I mean, obviously there were smaller teams doing Scrum already before 2018, but then when 2018 came, they started with a smaller experiment. When that was successful, they showed all the stakeholders, look at this success. Then we started scaling, but slowly, tribe per tribe. And only when we found, again, the common denominators and what worked and what didn't, then we scaled up further and further. And we have the team, or my chapter, our chapter. We work together on getting all experiments into the framework and communicating about it. So we have these fixed communication lines, both through formal and also through network. So formal and informal communication helps us to bring the framework together. So when, for example, a part of the organization decides to not follow the framework, we have a talk about that, right? And we say, guys, you're missing out because you cannot do this or that, or we cannot use your data in a certain report because you're not following the framework. So I really think practice what you preach, working on a transparent manner with the increments, with the experiments, makes you believable, and that helps us be successful, and then still keep it as a framework.
Yeah. Thank you. That makes sense. I also think that that partly answers my next question. If you now take normal corporate companies using the strategic way of working, and they're afraid to step over to such an objective framework, what would you say to them?
I think actually you gain control. So we have this magical way of thinking that if we make a great project plan, and well, we think about it for a long time, we put a lot of text on white sheets of paper, and we get signatures from everybody, then somehow magically this project will become a success. However, if you add some transparency to that and some tracking of objectives to that, measuring your results in between, you actually gain control, because you quickly see whether your ideas at the start of the project are actually even successful or viable. So I think we revolutionized the way how we do risk management, because we look at smaller increments. We have a lot more data on our progress. So yeah, I can really, even without the cultural shift, of course you do it with the proper cultural shift, but just creating transparency and starting with goal steering is really, I would tell everybody just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that also must have affected the happiness of the employees and the teams, and just seeing that change is possible even in such a big machinery.
I think so. And sometimes I wonder how much the teams see, because they are really, they have their own surrounding, they work on their own context, and we have all these events, rituals, if you will, where we share like a QBR, quarterly business review, where we share results each quarter. But it's like it's for the workers, it's free to go there, it's choice. They're invited, but they don't have to go. So the transparency is available for everybody. But I think it's an individual choice, whether you're really interested in the entire bank or just your part or just your work, your daily work. That's fine. It's all fine. Yeah, as long as you collaborate properly. That's what we ask from everybody. Be a good colleague, work together with your team.
Yeah. The culture of the mindset of the company. Yeah. And yeah, finally, I would really love to know, is there a pivotal moment, because you have been part of this project since 2021. Was there a pivotal moment for you in those past 3 years that stands out for you?
That's such an interesting question. I think as a change person, I always look for the S curve. I don't know if you know it, but it's like change goes, if you do it properly, it goes like an S. At the beginning, it starts slowly. You have the early adopters and the believers, they go with you, but the rest is like, yeah, whatever. And then there is this point where you get traction on your idea. And all of a sudden, everybody wants to join in. You have this exponential growth of enthusiasm, and my phone doesn't stop ringing because everybody wants to get in. And then when the change is behind us, then it goes down again. So you have this S. And we have several of these S moments in the change. And actually, we are in one right now. The way how we administrate all this work and the data to that, from the highest to the lowest level in the organization, is now all of a sudden so popular that that the people in my team working on this, on the tooling, they cannot they get too many questions from the organization. The phone does not stop ringing. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna pick up your ask or your question in Q3 next quarter, because we just don't have the time and the headspace to do it now. So we are in a pivotal moment like that at the moment with the adoption of the data parts. Also parts of the organization who are not working with simplified skill also want to join it. So it's really interesting. Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like you are really set up for a very successful future. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to know what questions we have in the chat box. Marco.
Yeah, I have definitely seen a lot of great questions. And I have Sabutsky here online, who was also willing to ask the question himself. So please unmute.
Hi, Sabina and everyone. I'm
Ivana
Sabutsky.
Now I do. 1 sec. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are very well in audio.
Hi, Sabina and everyone. I'm really happy, and I thank you for your presentation and for sharing your insights. Really helpful for me. I'm an agile coach in IT at AkzoNobel, and we are just at the beginning of our OKR rollout process. We want to pilot the OKR process in IT at our company, show our success, and hopefully to inspire other departments and the whole company. But my question is, how do you track the performance? I mean, overall at Rabobank, because there is the OKR process, but there are also the standard work KPIs, yes, tracking. So that's the question number 1. And the question number 2 is specifically about your role. How do you measure the impact of your role in the OKR process? Thank you so much.
Can you repeat your first question? Because it just, the last words of your first question were not perfectly audible for me. So the second one, my role, I will explain it, but the first part, can you repeat?
How do you keep track of the performance?
Yeah. Yeah, so we have like the standard, I mean, as a bank, obviously we have a whole department set up to track performance. We have different measures. We have a whole finance and control department, obviously. And they work closely together with our tribes to track both. So we track, like we still have a KPI framework, but we ensure that the objectives that I talked to you about, the objectives from the OKRs, that they align with the KPIs that we have as a bank. So so we have objectives, and then we have a linked set of formal banking KPIs that really communicate or are linked to the domain objectives that I described. And then we have a process, but maybe that goes in too deep. We have something that we call a performance and health process within the tribes, where we have a performance dialogue with all the relevant people on tribe level, area level, where we discuss these performance KPIs and also the progress on the key results. So we do both. We bring them together and we periodically discuss both. And then we have retrospectives, obviously, because we are do agile. We have the retros on tribe level, domain level, tribe level, area level. So on the highest level in the organization, we do them quarterly, the retrospectives, and we bring all the data, the performance data, and the strategy delivery data. We bring them together into the retros, and we discuss. And where are we? What is where do we expect to go? And do we need to change anything? Do we need to change our strategy? Do we need to change anything else? Change the backlog. So yeah, we have an integrated process for that. Okay, so the second question, actually I have also myself, I have what we call a KPI card for the whole chapter. We have it. So we have something, we're still practicing with that, but we have something, it's not really a net promoter score, but it's a net, something like a commitment score that we keep as coaches towards our stakeholders. And it's based on a few simple questions, like if you have a worry, or if you have like a challenge, how big is the chance on a scale of 0 to 10 that you will ask me to help you with that, or to think along with you? So that's one of the questions that, right, if they give me a 2, then I know, oh my word, I'm not I'm not doing the right things. So we have 3 questions that support that score as a coach. That's about personal effectiveness. And then as a transformation team, we have a lot of secondary measures. So we are only successful when our business is successful. And for this year, we have some key results based on data quality in the tooling. Let's see, what else can I share with you? We have some stuff on the transformation. So we have ambitions for different parts of the organization. We want to do redesigns. So we have some objectives there that we have to finish the redesign in time. But it's all like derived. So we are only successful as a team when our business and tech units that we support are also successful. So I think that's the most concrete that I can get for you on that. Thanks. You're very welcome.
Perfect. This
There's another one. It's
I can imagine.
a great question, a great guest question as well. It's and thank you for the question from Max Nobel. I have Yassir here asking you to unmute. I will put you in the spotlight as well, and fire your question to Sabina.
Yep. Hi, Sabina. So I work as a Scrum Master and an OKRs coach for a company called Tetra Pak. We also implemented around 2 to 3 years back OKRs. Now, I mean, one of the important aspects of our success factors of OKRs is to change from measuring outputs to outcomes. right? So, I mean, how did you address that challenge of, changing the mindset of the employees to start thinking and measuring outcomes rather than what they were usually, used to of measuring outputs?
Interesting question. Thank you for that. And I fully understand your struggle. From a personal perspective, I think it will always remain a combination of both. So we really, like in the structure that I explained from the one backlog, we really coach and guide our stakeholders to keep writing your stories from a value perspective. If not from a value perspective, then what, you don't even know what to do. But yeah, I still see teams who also write stories on deliverables. And that's just how the world works, right? If you have to, like, I'm not a techie, but if you have to change a certain interface, for example, yeah, you can elaborate all on value. Like in the end, if I change this technical interface, in the end, the customer can do A or B. But then it's not necessary for us to really go there. So we always see a combination of both. You still have backlog items that are really just output driven, but as long as on the more tactical, strategical level, like leadership, if they do not guide the teams from a value perspective, yeah, that's really something. And then we will never be successful. So we really coach the leaders, our leadership, on prioritizing well, giving direction, and doing that from a value perspective. The how question, it has to do with our transformation. So because we have management board buy-in, the agile coaches, us, we work on different management levels. So we really have a seat at the table, and where we help them. We say, okay, we have this list of work from you. It's very output driven. Let's sit together and see how we can help you guys to turn that around. So our leadership is also very much open to this kind of guidance, mentoring, and coaching. That obviously helps. So I think that's the best answer that I can give you on how we do it. Yeah. Hope it helps a little bit. It's a bit of a vague answer, but I think sitting together with the product owners on all levels, we call our leadership on the highest level, we call them product owners as well, because they own the strategy and own the big parts of our products, and guiding the product owners on all levels on that really helps.
Thank you.
All right, good question.
I also, which brings up another question that I thought of. I'd be really curious to know, is it possible, do you think, to translate this process into other industries and other cultures? What are your thoughts on that?
So my first answer would be yes. And I think from the behavioral cultural parts, yeah, really start where you are. Pardon me. Because like the Dutch people, we are already quite open, and so I think the agile mindset is not so much far away from Dutch culture as it is. So Dutch are they don't like hierarchy anyways. So when Scrum came along, I think in the Netherlands, it was quickly embraced because we love the Dutch. We love it, right? Tell our boss to mind their own business. So yeah, so I think when you, depending on which country you're from, start with, where you're at and where you're coming from, and be aware of that when you embark on this journey. But I think in the end, yes, this can work in any information and tech heavy organizations. Like, yeah, if you have a gardening company, certainly you could also steer on objectives and have a great wall with all your objectives on them and your key results, but it will look differently in a day-to-day basis, right? You'll be doing gardening with your hands still, but in any information heavy or tech heavy company, this could definitely work, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Marco, are there any more questions?
Let me quick see. I have a question here. Somebody is not in video, so I will be asking you this. how many OKRs do you have for 1 quarter?
My goodness. I think so here we don't have sorry for the guys who are very strict in your OKR setting process. We set our objectives for on a yearly basis, and then we plan per quarter. So we move towards them in a quarter. I think for a domain consisting of 600, 700, maybe 800 teams, it's a lot, right? We have about 12 OKRs. But then if you trickle it down to all the work being delivered, so we deliver epics, that will be your key results per quarter. We deliver those. I don't have the amount. It will be like 1,500 or something like that, but derived all from the same 12 objectives. Yeah.
All right, that is pretty steep number.
Yes, a lot. And that's not even bank-wide, right? Because we have 4 of those domains. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question here from Subhash. I will find him
Yeah,
on the
I'm
list.
here. Yeah.
Great stuff.
We can hear you.
All right, thanks. Okay, thanks, Marco. So my name is Subhash. I'm a management consultant based in Dublin. What I wanted to know, and it's probably both for Sabine and Marco and the OKR team, is, in terms of training supports you got from, did you get anything from OKR Institute? And, how were your teams were trained, or different, OKR has different programs. I just want to understand around what kind of support you got from OKR Institute. What's the mix of the number of certifications you got, so that we get an idea of what kind of training we need for the coaches themselves to be familiar with the OKR concepts.
So let me first answer this question from Rabobank perspective, because we have our own take on this. Does not mean that you have to copy this as a company, but we decided to do a lot ourselves. So we design our own training program, and we only buy stuff that we think it's really cheaper, more effective to ally or to buy, and the rest we develop ourselves. And we have we have a training program for the whole company where everybody can sign up, whatever. We run trainings all the time, day to day, daily. And then we have something that we call chapter days, chapter development days. And when we develop something new within our framework, we first train our own chapter, 70 people, the 70 agile coaches and agile consultants within our team. We first train them ourselves, and we have chapter days for that. And when they are confident, they go out into the organization and train everybody else. But that is like the mentoring, the Shuhari parts. That's what the coaches do on a daily basis. For the generic trainings, we have a whole program that runs throughout the year. And I can only give you advice in about that. Design the program that you think that you need, and then look for your partners whom you can ally with, or what you can buy, and be smart about that, right? So pick the right partners for you. Yeah,
Has to be a match, right?
Definitely, yes.
Marco, would you like to elaborate on that as well from a partner perspective?
Yeah, as a partner, I would always like to elaborate on that, and saying in that providing courseware via OKR Institute, and having got the opportunity from the OKR Institute and from Dirk Schmellenkamp, who was a visionary starting the company, and we in this part of the world, in Europe, being able to amend the courseware towards the level of agility that we are currently in, because everybody on this call can imagine that in regards to geography, it matters. It matters culture-wise. It matters the room that there is on educating yourself, the platform that you can get with your employer to get trained in a correct way. That also adds value to the whole company's perspective as well. And hearing from Sabine here that Rabobank is really saying, well, we are a company with a culture of learning, a high level of transparency, but it's also learning by doing. And I think that's a new methodology that we, together with OKR Institute, have developed to bring online courses with the help of coaches and trained OKR coaches globally, with the use of interactive collaborative boards in Miro. We have now the ability to really train and also let participants be active participants on this training. So yeah, I can say a lot about that, and I also can talk days on that. So please cut me off when you've all heard it. But thank you for your question. And if anybody would like some more information on what we are going to set a date for within the OKR Institute on this new materials, please say yes in the chat or come back to us, and we'll make sure that you get you updated on that.
Thank you, Marco. And as many of you will probably already know, there's a heap of information on the OKR Institute website, free courses, material, and you can just dive in and just get the heads up for yourself. First of all, we have a community. It's also called the Heartbeat community. Lots of heartbeats going on here. So you're more than welcome to join us there. Lots of free material there as well. And we always hope for the interaction and for the support system and for guiding each other through the confusions that may arise when you step over. So if there's nothing else that's pressing or any important questions,
no
Marco?
more questions, a lot of thank yous in the chat.
Fantastic. Well, I would like to thank you all for being present with us today, for your participation, for your patience with our technical audio issues. I would like to apologize again. And come and join us on the Heartbeat community. Come find us on LinkedIn. We also have a group on LinkedIn. So wishing you lots of success for Q2 and whatever may come on your path. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Sabine, for being here and for
having me.
sharing your wisdom. Thank you so much. And thank you, Marco.
Thank you all. Thank you so
you.
much.